Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in to IDLM Transition Talk. And today we have a special guest here with me and Ms. Pam. We have Mary Thorsby, who is the Executive Director of Abode. And Abode is a 501c3 nonprofit. And so I'm super excited to have Mary here to share with us today. Good morning, Mary. How are you?
Good morning. I'm excellent. Thank you so much for having me.
We're so excited to have you this morning. I was exceptionally excited because of what you do.
Oh, it's lovely.
So, Mary, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. I have had a long career in corporate communications, of all things. I'm a writer. I did a lot of project management in my career, a lot of PR and marketing, and all of and events. And so all of that came together when the opportunity to run Abode came up. And I use all of those skills in what I do day to day, plus 1,000 million more skills that I've had to learn. And
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've gotten to be so excited because I have gotten to come and see you there at Abode and take a tour and get to see this lovely home that is there to help others at this time. Will you tell us a little bit about how did Abode come to be?
Yes. So this is Abode. This is a watercolor painting of it. And as you can see, it's a beautiful residential home. It's here in San Antonio at 8619 Post Oak Lane, very close to the old Los Patios, and actually right across the street from the inn at Los Patios, which is an assisted living community. The idea for Abode came about from Patsy and Edwin Sasek. They are our founders and a very lovely couple. They're also artists. And they had worked in hospice for many, many years. And they had just seen too many people dying in less than ideal conditions with no one to care for them properly. When you're dying and you're on hospice, a lot of people think that that's 24/7 care, and it's not. That's a misconception. Your hospice team will come care for you wherever you are a couple of times a week for an hour. Not at all. It's not at all full-time care. So if you're living in a home that's not conducive to proper care for you, or if you live alone, or if your loved one is simply not able to care for you, it's a big problem. So the Saseks decided, let's create a beautiful place where people can come and they can be cared for around the clock. The hospice can come care for them at Abode, and they wanted to do it at no charge. So we run completely on donations and grants, and we don't charge our guests for any of these services. And we work with all hospice agencies.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that we talk about as doulas and in that care process too, because a lot of people do get confused about because they're told, oh, hospice is 24/7. And then they get home and they're like, I thought it was 24/7. And they're like, no, 24/7 by the phone.
Right.
So it's a little bit of a confusing thing that sometimes happens. And I've even found it happening as well when we have clients that would come home on crisis care. They think that, oh, crisis care is going to be here. This starts at 24 hours. And it doesn't necessarily, I got many clients that were, sad because we were having to step out when they became stable. So that is definitely, happens throughout. And, and I have actually been really blessed because I've found, I went into the website and I actually found one of the patients that I took care of right before she came to Abode. And she was a firecracker, and she was an artist, and she was amazing. And really, because I got to spend so much time with her, just going back and being able to review the stories that you share, with the the family that y'all have coming in, and so it's just really, really beautiful. So what is the process for someone to come and stay with you?
The process is you have to be on hospice care. You have to be under hospice care to come to Abode. So your hospice agency will determine, yes, this patient has 3 months or less expected longevity. So that's our guideline, 3 months or less. And they can't stay at home any longer. They need somebody to stay with them around the clock. So they will refer their patient to us by sending an email, and they attach the clinical report so that we can read through and get a sense of what the patient is dying of and why they think that it's just 3 months or less. And then if we have an open room, we certainly will welcome that guest to us. Or if we're all full, which is usually the case, we put the patient on our waiting list. And as soon as somebody dies, then we go to the list and we connect with everyone on the list and see who is still in need of assistance. And we take we try to go chronologically and also based on need to take the next patient. And we call the patients, we call them our guests. So when they come to Abode, then the hospice agency continues their care, but they come to Abode to deliver the care, and then we do everything else. Yeah.
Pam, you're muted.
I'm sorry. I said, how many rooms do you have?
We have 3 bedrooms at the moment, and that was intentional when the house was built. If we care for more than 3 people, we have to be regulated. So the Sassacks wanted to make sure that this model would work. We are the only home of our kind here in San Antonio and one of just 2 in the whole state. So they wanted to make sure that this would work. They proved that it did. And if we want to add more rooms, we would need to become a special care facility. So we're looking into that to see if that's a possibility for us.
Interesting.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's just, and Pam, I know I called, I think right after I went to Abode, and I was so excited because it is so beautiful to go. And what I really, really loved was the fact that y'all have the openings from the room so that if they cannot get up out of bed, they can be pushed in the bed out to this gorgeous garden.
Yes.
And I was just that just blew me away, because what an honor to be able to even be bedbound, to be able to go and take that step outside, to get that fresh air, to just have some time to reflect. I mean, because just necessarily because they're in a bed and they're they can't get up doesn't mean that they still may not be talking and still fully alert and knowing what's going on. So I think that is super, super, super beautiful. Will you tell us a little bit about some of the events that y'all hold at Abode?
Yes, we have lots of events. So every day it seems like there's something going on. Every Monday evening, there's a meditation. It's held on Zoom. And then every Thursday morning, there's a meditation in our this front room right here, which we call our quiet room or prayer room. We have the word contemplative in our name, Abode Contemplative Care for the Dying. And meditation is one of the contemplative practices that we all carry out in our day-to-day life, and also in the way that we care for our guests. We're very intentional and focused and not rushed when we care for guests. And that's been one of my biggest challenges as a recovering type A, get it done, mark it off your to-do list kind of gal. I've really learned, and I'm so happy that I have, to curtail that practice and be more contemplative. So we have meditation. On Fridays, we have bedside yoga. After our Thursday meditation, we have a lunch around our dining room table for anyone who'd like to join us. So that's guests and volunteers and staff. Let's see, we have a book club coming up. Actually, let me grab that calendar. Just a second. Let's see. Oh, we have Death Cafe. We're now hosting Death Cafe, which is an international program for doctors all over the world. And Death Cafe meets the second Saturday of every month from 2 to 3:30 at Abode. And that's open to everyone. So 2 to 3:30, second Saturday of the month. We are starting a grief support group every Wednesday from July 20th until September 7th. So it's 8 Wednesdays in a row, which is going to be led by Darwin Hartson, and he works for Porter Loring. He's just lovely. So if anyone in your world or you are grieving and you would like a support group, I would highly recommend you to join in on that.
Is that going to be by Zoom?
No, that will be in person at Abode. Yeah. And that's going to be 11:30 until 1. We have a book club, a book study group, and the book that we're choosing for this fall is The Lost Art of Dying, Reviving Forgotten Wisdom. And the book club is by Zoom. That starts in September. And then we have Abode Academy, which is a 5 or 6 week program focused on various death and dying topics. And we'll be doing that starting in October as well. So we just finalized those dates, and we'll be putting them on our website. A great way to keep up with us is to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, because we do a real nice job of getting the word out that way too. So there's something for everyone at Abode, and plenty of volunteer opportunities too.
Awesome. Yes. And so it's nice that you do have a little bit of flex where you do have some online where others can join in, because even if you're not in San Antonio, Texas, you can still support Abode. You can still join in with those events, some of those events that you may have online. The workshops, are they online as well?
Yes, our Abode Academies, we've done 4 sets of them. And if you go to abodehome.org and look under the education button, you'll see all of them there. And you're right about Zoom. Our book club is actually international. We have a participant from Canada and one from Australia. So anybody can participate in our book club, and also our Abode Academy. Those are on Zoom.
How awesome.
That is awesome. Yes. Absolutely.
It's part of our mission. Of course, caring for our guests is top of mind, and it's our main mission. But educating our community on the fact that death is not something to be feared, and that we all need to live as fully as we can until we die is also very important to us. You probably talk about this all the time, Anna, that, there was a time in our previous generations' lives where death was not such a taboo subject, and people died at home, and they came to visit and pay their respects at home. And when we took death out of the home and into the hospitals, we lost that ability to be able to face it and plan for it properly and talk about it. So we're trying to, be a part of the movement to help people embrace that it's going to happen. And why not be ready for it and make sure it runs as smoothly and as beautifully as possible.
Absolutely. And I have to say too, if you go to the website, there is a little video too that's shared, a little YouTube video there. So check it out. We did put it in our links here, so you can go and check out the website. Will you share a little bit about how would someone donate if they want to?
I certainly will share how someone can donate. It's my favorite subject. It truly is the only way we can keep our doors open is through individual donations of any size and our grants. You can go to abodehome.org, and there's a donate button right on the home page. And you can also send a check, and those are nice because fees are taken out of a check. So the address for that PO box is on our homepage too. If you just scroll down toward the bottom, you'll see our PO box address. And cash, cash is king. You can bring cash directly to Abode, or send it by our PO box.
Wonderful. Yes. Because again, Abode is a 501c3 nonprofit. And
Yep.
so I think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful to be able to share, because there are families and especially, we just had this conversation, Pam and I, about our gray tsunami.
Gray tsunami? What do you mean by that?
So
The
it is,
aging
well, they've
population.
been calling it the gray tsunami or the baby boomers. And so we were talking about, how many families now are, individuals don't have someone to care for them.
Right. Right.
Some of the numbers that Pam pulled up were just astonishing. The new figures that have been coming out of people
Yes.
needing.
No doubt about it. More of us are getting older, but it is interesting at Abode, a cancer doesn't care how old you are. And we get people in their 30s, 40s, all the way up to 100 and some. So we see all sorts of ages. No doubt about it. The fact that there aren't more homes like Abode, I think we're in a crisis situation. And I would love to see homes like ours replicated throughout the city of San Antonio for sure, but everywhere there's a neighborhood or a community of sorts or an affinity group. Why not create a home or renovate a home and designate that as your community's place where folks can go and be cared for?
Totally.
So that's another thing that we're big proponents of and trying to help and inspire. And it is happening. There are other end-of-life homes like ours across the US. There's one other in Texas. And most of us belong to an organization called the Omega Home Network. So if you'll Google that, you can go to a map of the US, and there are little pinpoints that show you which states have homes like ours and which are under construction or having fundraising campaigns to create. So that's omegahomenetwork.org. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. That's just beautiful. And so this is something too, doulas out there too, to look in their communities or go to the omegahome.org, because I am sure that this is a great opportunity. We always encourage our students to go in and volunteer at hospice or different services to gain more experience before stepping out on their own and opening their practice. So this could be a great opportunity for doulas if they're looking for a volunteer opportunity to go in and check that out as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. All of our homes need volunteers to come and sit with guests at the bedside and just help us run the house. It's a house like anybody else's house that needs to be cleaned and maintained, and food needs to be prepared, and laundry needs to be washed.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a question in our comments here. Someone had asked, Ms. Shelley, thank you for joining in with us. Do you have to have a medical background?
No, you just have to have a big heart, a call, and passion for what we do, because everyone who comes to us comes with a hospice team. The nurses come throughout the week to check on their patients, which we call guests, and the nurses write up the plan of care. So all the medications hospice provides, and they tell us what time and how much to give each person. You have to be willing to change diapers and help keep folks clean and dry. The hospice will send a CNA a couple of times a week to do showers or bed baths. So we don't do a lot of that, but we do have to, if somebody spills something, we have to be able to change them and change the bedding. It's not a medical, dying is not a medical event.
No.
And as anyone who's cared for a loved one at home, it's the very same thing. So you just learn about the medications and how to properly move each person from the bed to, the bathroom or to the wheelchair. We turn folks, every couple of hours. Those who are bed bound, we make sure that they get turned regularly. So there's no medical degree or license required to do what we do. And we just work hand in hand with the hospice teams.
How large a staff do you have? I imagine it's 24 hours a day too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always someone at Abode. So the shifts are 8 hours, and then there's the 15-minute overlap. So it's 8 hours and 15 minutes per person. And so that's 3 shifts a day. So we just make sure every shift is covered. We have 4 full-time, we call us end-of-life navigators. So they're 4 end-of-life navigators, and we have some freelance, I call freelance, but they're also known in the industry as PRN. So I have a list of folks that I can call if we need a shift covered. And we're always looking to keep that list up to date. So if folks are interested in it.
So does family come and help? I mean, do you
Yes.
have a patient? The patient comes in, the patient's going to be with you. Does family come and stay with them, or how does this work for the families?
The family members are welcome to stay over if they would like. Each room has a couch that folds out. So if there's a spouse or close friend or partner or what have you, child, doesn't matter. So if somebody feels strongly that they want to spend, especially the last couple of nights, if someone is actively dying, sometimes we'll get a request for folks who will want to stay. In general, folks don't stay in the night if their loved one's going to be with us for a while, because one of the main points of coming to Abode is to give the loved ones some much deserved rest, so that when they come to visit, their visits can be just so focused on the love and whatever needs to be said or felt versus care. However, when family or friends are there and willing to help us move the person or change the person, we certainly welcome that, or to cook a meal or what have you. They can be as involved as they would like, or they can just come and sit for a while and go home and come back the next day. We have a woman who's actively dying now, and her son spent last night with her.
Well, I know we're getting close on time, but I wanted to ask, can you share, because I know everybody will probably see the light, the little tree of life that y'all have. Can you tell us the story behind that?
Yes. In fact, we lit it yesterday for our guest who's actively dying. It's a real pretty tree of life. That's a statue, and it has little lights on it. So as someone becomes, it starts their transition, and it's clear that they've only a very short amount of time left. We never know for sure how long. We'll light it, or if they have family or friends, we'll invite them to come and light it. And we generally take a photo if they're open to that, and we post it on our social media and ask that our followers join us thinking and sending good karma and praying for the guest and their family and friends. And we get such nice response from that.
Wow. I know when I saw it, I was like, oh, I love it. I love that there's so much love in there. And definitely when I visited, it was a lot of love in the home. And so,
well, you feel it as soon as you come through the doors. It's a feeling that it's unlike anywhere else you've been in terms of a home that takes care of folks. When Abode was being built, our founders and early supporters wrote prayers from different religions in different languages, and they tacked them to the inside beams as the house was being built, so that feeling of peace and love emanates literally through the walls.
I love that.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful? Oh,
it's a beautiful home. In fact, so many family members say, Mom has never been in a house as pretty as this, or Dad was living in, not great place, and that he gets to come and be here. It's just a lovely gift.
it is. It's beautiful. And I love the fact, you have the cooking and, like, where can you go and get home cooked food, So it's awesome. 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 So thank you so much, Mary, for sharing with us today and explaining how everything, about the home and where we can go and donate. Because I definitely love supporting Abode. And, like I said, regardless if you're in San Antonio, Texas or not, you can always support Abode and send in donations, you know, and support Abode through this ministry, through this work that we're all doing here, that everybody is trying to help make something better here. So, Pam, real quick before we wrap up, is there anything that we need to touch on before to remind the community about?
Well, they need to check on the book club because we have got the Out of the Storm book coming up. So they need to check the website for that. There'll be some more announcements about that. And I'll also this week be putting up at your bedside Barbara Karn's book. I'll be putting that up and getting that broken out to when we're going to do that study. So the book club's going to be having a lot of posting coming. They just need to look in and see what's going on in the book club.
Yes. So if you missed our last book club, we were able to share with Barbara Karnes the new book that she has, By Your Side. And so we're super, super excited about it. And, you know, those are just one of the perks that we have in our book club too, that we'd like to try to have all the authors come in and speak when we're reading a book. So we try to help, and that way we can ask questions and things like that too. We have our fall classes are lining up as well. The links are in the here and are in our bio areas. And we also have our summer summit coming up in the end of July. So stay tuned, because July 1st, we'll start leaking out and seeing who's coming and getting excited for that as well. But I think that's everything for this week. And thank you all for joining us. Next week, I believe, is 4th of July. So we won't see them.
We won't see you Monday.
You're going to take some self-care for the 4th of July. So we won't see you for Transition Talk next week. We'll be the week after that, after the 4th of July. But thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mary, for spending some time with us this morning and sharing with us. We really, really appreciate it. And we hope that all this information, this is wonderful information, can help others out there as well.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
And
you.
if anybody wants to visit Abode, just send me an email, mary@abodehome.org.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And we will see everyone the week after 4th of July. So have a happy 4th of July. And anything else, Ms. Pam?
Nope, I think that's it. Everybody be safe.
All
See
right,
you
everyone,
next
be
week.
safe.